Okay.
Okay, my name is Kathy Basher. I chair the Arizona Parent Family Coalition, and I would like to welcome everyone on behalf of the Northern Arizona Parent Family Coalition and NAMI Yavapai to Mental Health Monday. And our beautiful Paige.
All right. And thank you all for being here. I'm Lori Verdier. I chair the Northern Arizona Parent Family Coalition and am administrator with the Arizona Parent Family Coalition. And so happy to partner with NAMI Yavapai on the Mental Health Monday program. So I'd like to introduce Paige. And Paige Rogers is a social worker, a yoga instructor, an advocate who is committed to improving the health and wellness of communities through increasing access to integrated care that considers the wellness of the whole person, establishing a recovery-oriented and strength-based system of care that is responsive to the needs of persons with diverse abilities, and ensuring that the perspectives and voices of the individuals impacted by systems and programs are incorporated into the design and ongoing evaluation of those systems that aim to serve them. She founded the Community Connections Counseling Services in 2012 to further opportunities for people with diverse abilities to live, learn, work, and thrive in the community that embraces and celebrates differences while building upon individual strengths. She's paved the way for self and family advocacy efforts through her service as a National Alliance on Mental Illness affiliate president. Her work is influenced by her past experience as a rehabilitation counselor and administrator at the Arizona Department of Health Services Division of Behavioral Health Services, a member of the Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center, executive leadership team, and community advocate. Today, she works diligently to empower both people and organizations through workforce development, fund development, clinical program design, program and system evaluation, individual coaching, and community organizing. As a registered yoga instructor, she enjoys demonstrating how, just like the yoking together of breath and movement in the asanic practice of yoga, the bringing together of yogic and social work principles can have a powerful impact. So that's quite a lead in. And
I want to add a little bit more.
Please do.
Because 15 years ago, 16 years ago, Miss Paige hired me to work at the Department of Health. And she was my supervisor. But what is so important about that is I was the first one peer really to come into the Department of Health. Paige stood behind me. I mean, it was a real risk on her part, and I think she left not too long afterwards. But anyway, she greatly supported me in my work and to open up the ability for peer and family members to sit on committees and to start at the Department of Health. So thank you, Paige. We've gone a long, long way.
Yes, yes, we have. Thank you, Kathy and Lori, for inviting me to present today and to join you guys. I'm happy to be here and to see so many of you on. I am going to share my screen now, but first I'm going to do my job of making Kathy the co-host.
So
Okay,
Kathy can admit people that come in after this.
Yes. Okay, Kathy, you're
so
officially co-host now. You should see that alert. And then when people come in, you can admit them. And we're going to go.
I hope I did it right. Did I do it?
Yeah, it looks like you're official.
Okay.
And Lori, just double checking, you can only see the title slide, right? Not the presentation.
Correct.
Guide?
Correct.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. And like Lori said, please, if you have questions as we're going through today's discussion, please, you can put them in the chat, or you can, raise your hand if you know how to use the little participation buttons at the bottom of your screen. You can raise your hand that way, and I'll try to keep track of if people have their hands raised. or if Lori or Kathy can alert me to that. And also just feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt me if I'm missing the fact that you have your hand raised. So let's just dive right in. As Lori mentioned in my intro, I really enjoy being able to connect yogic philosophy and my practice as a social worker. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today as we kind of weave the two together in looking at self-care and just staying well during the holiday season. So before we jump in, make sure you have a blank piece of paper, it can just be scratch paper, and a pen or pencil with you, because I'm going to ask you a couple of times during the presentation to just take some notes and jot some things down. So, of course, this beautiful holiday season is supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, right? Sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes we find ourselves losing sight of the joy of the season or what really matters. And that can be for a wide variety of reasons, right? Family dynamics, increased spending, past trauma that may be triggered through this time of year, grief, loneliness, disruptions to our diet, our sleep, our exercise routines, and all sorts of other reasons why we may be experiencing some increased stress during this time. So we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the why behind that. Instead, we're going to spend our time together talking about how to find some balance and how to make sure we're still taking care of ourselves. So first and foremost, just laying the groundwork of listening to our body, right? Rest when we feel tired. Make sure that we're building time into our schedule to have that downtime and to give ourselves that rest and not being overscheduled during this time of year. Skip that party without guilt if you're feeling tired. Give yourself a break and relax at home. Be sure to stay hydrated, drink lots of water. We know that we tend to be kind of inundated with extra sugar during this time of year. And sometimes thirst can mask itself as hunger. And we end up grabbing for that candy dish when really all we really needed to do was drink a nice big glass of water. Eat when we feel hungry. Don't get busy and wait all day till the end of the day and then you're starving. And so again, you're grabbing for that candy dish or that junk food. So take some time to plan out your eating and having some healthy meals that are readily available. Maybe even prepping some fresh fruit or veggies in the fridge that are already washed. So when you're hungry, you can just grab it quickly on the go. But overall, with everything we talk about today, it's always going to be checking back in and listening to our body. And we're going to do a couple of mindfulness practices towards the end of our time together that will also help us focus on that listening to our body. So give yourself permission to do less. We can be so inundated with to-do lists, busying ourselves with the things that we need to get done in order to be prepared for the holidays, but also traditions that we feel obligated to participate in. So if you're not feeling up to participating in that long-standing family tradition, give yourself a break, give yourself permission to take a task. Notify family members in advance that you'll be skipping the event or doing something new this year. Give them plenty of advance notice and just be honest and transparent about it. Buy less, make less. Do you really need to make 7 side dishes for your Hanukkah dinner? Or would everyone be satisfied with 2 delicious dishes? Giving gifts, let's focus on the thought, showing someone that we've really taken the time to think about them and what they like, and that is so much more powerful than the price tag. So doing less overall, but with great intention. So really thinking about where we are investing our time and being present during that time and just fully focused on that activity that we're engaged in. And so when we do things with full intention, rituals and traditions are really important. And that's a great way to be just really intentional about where we are spending our time. So practicing rituals has been proven to increase the feelings of connectedness and belonging, whether that's feelings of connection with your family members, your friends, your coworkers. Participating in a ritual together can be incredibly powerful in just fusing that bond. It is most important when you're practicing a ritual of any sort with a full group that every member of the group is involved in designing that ritual so that it holds meaning for each of them. And when everybody is involved in deciding what your ritual, your tradition is going to be and designing it, then it is incredibly powerful in just building that connection. So thinking back again, if you're skipping out on a longstanding tradition this year, what about bringing your family members or your close friends together to talk about building a new tradition and taking the time to talk through what's meaningful to each one of them? So this can also be a really powerful way to mark celebrations, right? Something big, whether it's an achievement or just celebrating the holiday or celebrating the memory of a loved one that passed during this time of year in years past. Having a ritual or tradition is an incredible way to mark that celebration. And along the same lines, it's a great way to process grief. Also taking that time, having those independent rituals that are just for you, where you take the time to reconnect with yourself and to be intentional about giving yourself that time and recentering. So rituals don't have to be fancy. They don't have to be religious or spiritual. I know a lot of times when you think of the word ritual, you jump to, most people think of religious rituals, right? A lot of religions are just steeped in ritual, and that can be a really beautiful thing. But a ritual can also be something really simple that's just holds some meaning to you and is a set routine that you're going to do or a process that you're going to engage in alone or with others. And it's really important to take time to create or maintain a ritual that is important to you. So I want you guys to kind of think about rituals that you've done in the past, you're currently doing, or something new that you'd like to create, and using it as a reminder to not lose sight of what really matters. And the answer to what really matters is different from person to person and family to family, right? So I want you to take some time right now on that blank piece of paper you have to just jot down. First, ask yourself, what really matters to you during this season? What really matters to your family during this season? So take a moment to just kind of jot that down. And then think about actions that you can engage in, rituals, traditions that you can create to help remind you of what really matters. And if anybody has a ritual that they're already engaged in that has helped you just stay centered during this time, or you have an idea of something new that you'd like to start, I welcome you to share that now. You can just unmute yourself and just jump out there and share. Kathy, you want to jump in?
Well, it's a little bit different for me because I'm old, probably one of the oldest people here. Maybe Ralph is coming behind me and Lori, but you know, at this point, you lose your family or your family is not close and you're alone. And sometimes you can travel, I mean, me. But what I try to do, because I'm alone a lot of the time during holidays, is to find people in the community that are really nice, are exceptional. And then I write a little card and thank them for being nice and put a little money in there. But they don't know me, you know, I just have someone else give it to them. But that's kind of what I do every Christmas, and I look forward to it. And I like to go up to them later and they don't even know it was me.
That's beautiful. I love that. Erin, you want to share?
Sure. I was just thinking, for me, it resonated a lot when you kind of talked about sometimes just slowing down and to be out in nature as much as possible and to spend time around people that I just enjoy being around, whether that be family, friends, neighbors. So really try and make that point be around the season instead of the hustle and bustle or where I have to be. Where do you want to be? So, thank you.
Yeah. So I'll share an example for myself. I come from a really big family. I have a huge extended family, 6 generations of folks that have been in Arizona are still in Arizona. So everybody lives fairly close by. And so a lot of times during the holidays, it's lots of people, right? Giant extended family gatherings. And so a really simple tradition that I've created with my core family, my 2 kids, my husband and myself, is that we celebrate Christmas Eve. So like the night before Christmas Eve. And it's just super simple. We don't have any kind of fancy dinner or anything, but we just sit outside and we light a little bonfire and we just take that time together to just sit. And it's just the 4 of us. And we know that throughout the next couple of days, we're going to be inundated with a lot of extended family, which is a wonderful thing, right? But it's also just become really valuable to me for us to have that time, just the 4 of us, to just slow down and reconnect and do something silly and simple, like play a board game around the fire outside, or play 20 questions. So that's been something that we've been doing for several years now and has really helped me be a reminder to not lose sight of what really matters, which is creating that family connection. Anyone else want to share before we move on? Okay. So again, if you haven't finished just jotting it down, any new ritual that you'd like to just privately commit to yourself or a new tradition that you'd like to introduce to kind of help you stay rooted in the focus of what really matters to you during the season. If you write it down, it'll help you process it and commit to it. So I encourage you to just jot something down on that piece of paper now. Again, it's just your own private commitment. You don't have to share it with anybody. Of course, if you feel like sharing it with somebody later, sometimes sharing it also helps us do it because we put it out there in the universe and we've said it out loud. If it's helpful, you can even throw it down in the chat just to help yourself process it and commit to it and put it out there in the universe. So sometimes during the holidays, we feel this pressure to have all this joy and to be around people. And sometimes that just unearths a lot of feelings of loneliness or feelings of being disconnected from others. And that can be really challenging. We're feeling obligated to participate in group events in some cases, and we're around a large group, but yet we're still feeling a sense of disconnection. We're not getting that interpersonal connection that we're looking for in that group. So I encourage you to really think about being proactive and taking charge so that you can connect in timeframes and settings that are most comfortable to you. So instead of just hoping that these connections happen, make a list, set a goal, schedule the connections. Think about what type of connections you want to make. Like Kathy, your tradition, such a great example because that's also building those connections. Even though you're doing it anonymously, you're feeling that connection with the person. It's filling your bucket in that way. So, this could be as simple as a daily text message to a different person each day. Maybe set a number of weeks that you're going to do that. Say, okay, for the next 3 weeks, every day I'm going to just send a little text to somebody different just to let them know that I care about them or that I'm thinking about them. Myself personally, I love being around people, but I am an introvert. So when I am around large groups, I do need to take that time afterwards to just be alone and have my little cave time, if you will. And so kind of taking charge is helpful for me because it makes sure that when I'm done with that connection, I feel energized and revived, not just drained, right? And so you can think about what is the setting that's most comfortable to you, that's going to help you feel confident, not feel any anxiety about the social interaction, and also not feel drained at the end of it. So another good thing to do is to think about, giving yourself a time limit for the connection. So telling the person up front, what you have a hard stop at whatever time, so that you're getting just enough of that connection that you need to fuel you and to give back to them. Maybe it's coffee with a colleague that you admire, or someone that you've interacted with in the past that you want to get to know better, and you're taking that pause to connect with them. So a great idea of a way to kind of set a limit would be, what about just going for a walk? Like you have a clear path that you're going to go on a walk together, and when the walk is over, that connection is done. So you're just creating just enough time for you to reconnect without feeling stressed because it's taking too much time away from an already busy day, or without feeling drained or any anxiety around the social connection. So in addition to building time to have those social connections, make sure you're building time into your schedule for yourself as well. Building that downtime and that alone time into your schedule. Give yourself something, give yourself a gift. So this year, I gifted myself a little small live Christmas tree in my bedroom. And, it was $25. And so it wasn't a huge investment, but it brought me so much joy. And it was something that really helped me remind myself of what is important during this time of year to me. And every morning when I wake up and I see it, I just feel happy and I feel a good connection. So think about just gifting yourself something small that's going to help you. Get outside for fresh air. I think, Erin, you shared that, slowing down and being out there in nature, reconnecting. When you're out there getting that fresh air, get some movement if you can. That is such an important way to help you stay well. And practice mindfulness and gratitude. And we're going to do a couple of mindfulness exercises together today to help conceptualize what that is. So incorporating wellness into our everyday habits is good all the time, right? And hopefully you already have wellness habits that you do every day. Sometimes those can fall to the wayside during busy times of year. You're stressed at work, or it's the holidays and you've got a busy schedule and you're kind of off of your regular routine. So let's talk about those wellness habits and how we can stick with them. And this is a good refresher too, as we're getting ready to enter into 2025 and we're thinking about those New Year's commitments. What wellness habits can we maintain through the next year, even during those busy times of life? And that's anything from choosing healthy foods, building those strong relationships, getting plenty of exercise, affirmations to influence thought patterns. So what you tell yourself about a situation can often define how you're going to experience that situation. What you tell yourself about yourself oftentimes becomes a automatic thought process that now you start to think about yourself all the time. So let's, when we need to rewrite the script, let's do that. Let's tell ourselves positive things. Let's take some time to write down affirmations, to remind ourselves of affirmations when we wake up in the morning. Lori, you want to add something to that? I see your hand up.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. As I'm looking at this, I'm reminded, food is medicine, exercise is so important, and everything here really hits the point. But what I wanted to mention is we need to really be kind to ourselves. And if I strive to do some of these things and don't hit the mark, I need to just say, okay, I didn't hit the mark today. Tomorrow's a new day, and treat every day as a new day.
That is so important. Thank you for adding that, Lori. I completely agree. It can be easy for us to feel also overwhelmed thinking of, healthy wellness habits, right? And whether we can do it all, and then being hard on ourselves when we don't do it. And just like we're giving ourselves permission to slow down and to skip some things, give yourself permission to let go of the guilt if you're not perfect on what you're eating, or you're not perfect on getting exercise every day. Let that go. Each day is a fresh, brand new day. I want you to think about putting yourself first at least twice a day. Think about how you can do that. And I want you to take some time right now to just kind of reflect on how you might increase putting yourself first, anything that might come to mind that you can jot down, as well as reflecting on boundaries in each aspect of your life, from your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual boundaries. And are there things that you can do to help strengthen those boundaries? We'll just take a pause for a second for you to kind of think about that and jot down some notes. If anybody feels so inclined to share, feel free to jump out there and share your thoughts. Lori, you want to share?
So with boundaries and today's, technology, of course, cell phones and texting are a part of most of our everyday lives. And I find that I need to maintain a better boundary with not responding quickly to a text, especially if it's in any way triggering. I need to take a step back. There's no hurry. It's not an emergency, and it has to do with self-care. So that's just something that popped into my head.
That's a really good example. Especially when you do respond too quickly, you're setting an expectation of your responsiveness, right? If it's a work interaction and it's not a work day and you're responding right away, now you've kind of created this expectation that you're going to be available to that degree. Anyone else want to share? Okay. So as we think about, setting time for ourselves, I want to talk through a little bit about what's going on scientifically in our body. So thinking through the stress response and the relaxation response. So we know there's two divisions of the human autonomic nervous system, right? There's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for activating that stress response, which is known as fight or flight. When we're in that sympathetic nervous system, we're pumping cortisol and adrenaline through our body, getting ready to run away or to fight. And that's something that happens when we're under stress, whether we actually have to run away or fight, we're still pumping all of those chemicals into our body to prepare us for that. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't actually involve fighting or running away. And so we have to think of a really healthy way to rid the system of all of those hormones, all those chemicals that we've produced when we're under the stress, so that we can get back to our parasympathetic nervous system being activated, which the parasympathetic nervous system is aligned with relaxation. So you can call that the relaxation response. And there's a couple of really easy techniques that you can use to reactivate the parasympathetic nervous system and kind of tell that sympathetic nervous system, okay, you can chill out and quiet down for a little while. We're not actually needing to get in a fight right now. So let's talk through some of those things. So this slide just kind of shows you a comparison of the physical reactions that you get in the relaxation response versus in the stress response. So the relaxation response, it can also be known as rest and digest. So think about it. When you're under stress, your body is preparing for you to fight or run. And so what's happening is all of the cortisol, adrenaline, the hormones that are being pumped into your body are preparing for you to run for your life or fight for your life or get that superhuman strength that you need to lift that school bus off of somebody. And when that happens, your other systems are slowing down and shutting down to a degree because you need to focus all your energy on fighting for your life. And so that's why if you're under long-term stress, you may have a lot of digestive issues because your digestion system is actually slowing down in order to get all of that energy to your legs and to get all that energy and blood flow to your heart to run fast. So if you kind of read through these bullet points, and I won't read each of them to you, you can see them here on the slide. But you start to kind of get an idea as to why when you're under long-term stress, you start to have a certain cycle of issues that then feed themselves, right? You then start to get lack of sleep, and then the lack of sleep starts to impact the mood, which further impacts the sleep. Kathy, you want to add to that?
Well, just I think this is hugely important because majority of us on this meeting, we have PTSD, whether we've been diagnosed or not. If you're a family member or if you're a peer, just dealing with the everyday stress is enormous. And so I think we really need to step back and realize sometimes you're just so in there and you don't realize, how stressful things are for you. And it is very hard to step back and make it a routine to start de-escalating and reducing the stress. And so this is something that everyone here needs to really focus on.
That
It
is so
causes
true.
long-term damage.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So the three major stress hormones are adrenaline, cortisol, and norepinephrine. So these things, when they're pumping through your body, they're doing things like dilating your pupils, reducing production of saliva, opening the bronchial passages, faster breathing, respiration, increasing your heart rate, inhibiting digestion. So this is mobilization activity, right? It's activating the fight or flight mechanism in the body. To Kathy's point, long-term chronic stress that's not managed and regulated is going to result in a cycle of dis-ease, lowering your body's ability to fight infection, lowering that immune system. Then you get sick. Now, again, that feeds this really vicious cycle. So all of these things are great in our body if we actually have to, say, run away from a lion and run for our life. They're not so great when we're just feeling it every day because we're stressed out about a relationship, we're stressed at work, we're not getting the sleep that we need. And so finding really healthy ways to activate the parasympathetic nervous system and find that balance and conserve energy, rid the system of those stress hormones when the stressor is gone is incredibly important. So also consider, and Kathy, to your point about PTSD, traumatic events can take a lot longer to rebalance. It's going to take a lot longer after an experience of trauma to get that relaxation response activated again. It's going to take longer to process through all those stress hormones. And so it is incredibly important to be purposeful about relaxation techniques on a daily basis in your life. And this can look really simple. And so we're going to practice a couple of things now to just show you how easy it is and how quick it is too. You don't have to devote hours and hours to relaxing every day, even just taking 5 minutes. So quick review before we jump into some exercises. So cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine are released during a stressful event. This is also during an event that is perceived as stressful. So let's take that example of running from a lion. A lion is chasing us and we have to run away. Whether there's actually a lion there chasing us or not, if we perceive that a lion is chasing us, our body is going to go into that fight or flight just the same, whether there's a lion there or not. So it's all about the perception of a stressful situation. So our perception stimulates the human stress response, same way as a true event. Again, relaxation response is what happens when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, and it helps us recover from stress. So that's the guy that we want to activate today. So thinking about that perception is labeled as the theory of cognitive appraisal. And this is the idea that our thoughts occur first and then in turn direct our emotional state based upon how we appraise that situation. So changing our appraisal of a situation, changing our perspective of something can actually lead to feeling different emotions. And it can lead to then producing different hormones in our body based on our perception of the situation. So here's a simple example. If your mother-in-law has plans to come in town for a visit and you focus on how much you're dreading the visit and how you're going to be dissatisfied with her negative comments and her behaviors, you're going to be very likely to have a bad visit. You're going to be very likely to experience everything about the visit in a negative way, regardless of her actual behaviors or comments. Say it's a person, a colleague that you interact with at work that just really irks you, rubs you the wrong way. Before you interact with them, if you're thinking all about, oh man, this person can be so rude and they just don't listen and they never let me get a word in, you're going to be very likely to experience the interaction with them that way, whether or not their behaviors were actually what you thought they would be. And so taking a second to prepare for something in a way that we kind of release some of those preconceived notions will help us experience it more truly to what the interaction actually is, as opposed to letting our preconceived notions about it define how we feel about the interaction. So one way to change our interpretations and labels of our experiences is to take away all the preconceived notions of what the experience is going to be like. So this is called practicing Zen mind or beginner's mind. So imagine you're experiencing something for the very first time. So I like the label of beginner's mind because it's an easy memory hook. You're a beginner at this. It's your very first time. So let's say you're about to interact with a family member that you've been having some negative interactions with lately. Imagine that you have never met this person before and you're meeting them and interacting with them for the very first time. You have no preconceived notions about what this interaction is going to be or what it's going to feel like or the emotions that you're going to have inside when you walk away from the interaction. So how might you experience that interaction with them differently? How might you interpret their words and behaviors differently when you aren't bringing any baggage, no preconceived notions to the table? So that can be pretty challenging to practice with individuals that you've known for years and years and years. An easier way to start is just thinking about beginner's mind with eating. So let's take an apple. Who's eaten an apple? I've probably eaten like 100,000 apples in my life. And I love apples. But I have a lot of preconceived notions about the apple, right? As soon as I see it, I'm like, yes, I want to eat that apple. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be crunchy. It's going to be sour. It's going to be sweet, all those wonderful things. I want you to think about eating an apple or any other food of your choice as if you've never, ever eaten that food before and you're experiencing it for the very first time. You have no idea what it's going to taste like. You have no idea the texture, the smell. You're coming at this as a beginner. I am a first-time apple eater here. I'm letting go of all my preconceived notions about an apple. This can be really powerful to do with foods that you don't like too, because you can kind of see it. Is this really something that you don't like, or is it just you had a bad experience with it at one time? You didn't like the way it was prepared, so now you've like written off mushrooms for your whole life. Let's bring that Zen mind, that beginner's mind to it and see if we can practice letting go of some of those preconceived notions. So I encourage you guys to practice this with something really simple. Start today, practice it with something that you're going to eat. And then tomorrow, see if you can do it with a person that you're going to interact with and let go of all your preconceived notions about them and come to the table with just beginner's mind. No preconceived notions about the situation, no labels, and just experience that interaction for truly what it is. Anybody have any questions about that? The concept of,
No, but I wish you had been around just a few days ago when I had to deal with my sister-in-law. You know, because I just go in there and I'm ready to fight. And I'm
yeah,
looking for that look on her face, the blank look or the meanness or whatever. You know, I just would wish I could redo it.
yeah, yeah. And when we're looking for it, we will find it, right?
Yeah, and I found it.
Yeah. And whether or not it was really there that time, we're going to see it there. And we're going to bring all the 30 years of feeling that feeling with us. So it's hard to undo that. So you got to practice. So we got to practice that Zen mind every day with something really simple. And then slowly but surely, it'll get easier to do with your sister-in-law or whoever that person is in your life that you're bringing all those years of baggage to the interaction. So we're going to do a little exercise right now. So I want you guys to just start by sitting in your chair, nice and straight and your feet flat on the ground. I'm going to scoot back a little bit so you can maybe see me better. Just kind of roll your shoulders back and just let palms facing up. Just drop your palms into your lap. And I want you to just take a deep breath in through your nose and out of your mouth. Do that 2 more times. And when you exhale, I want you to let out a little sigh. So inhale through your nose and exhale. One more time. So I want you to just take a moment to look around your room, wherever it is you're sitting, and notice 5 things that you see. Identify those things and label them. And when you're ready, I want you to notice 4 things that you can feel. Just find 4 things that you feel and take your hand and actually feel them. And now I want you to listen for 3 distinct sounds that you hear. Kind of first, just hear all the sounds at once, and then start to pick out 3 distinct sounds you can hear in the room you're in right now. And label those things as you're noticing them. And now I want you to notice 2 things you can smell. Find 2 distinct smells and label them as you notice them. And if it helps, you can close your eyes to kind of turn off the visual sense. Focusing on the sense of smell. And finally, I want you to find 1 thing that you can taste. If you have a glass of water nearby, take a sip of water. Maybe you have a cup of coffee nearby. So this act of the 5 senses took us 2 minutes, right? But just taking that time to activate all 5 senses in this way in kind of descending order, starting with 5, going to 4, 3, 2, 1, is a really powerful way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. It's simple, doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take any fancy skills, doesn't take any fancy rituals, and you can start to get that parasympathetic nervous system moving. So what if after you do that, you take a little bit of time to then connect in with your breath? So I want you to, again, sit up nice and straight, feet are flat, and let your palms face down in your lap this time. And close your eyes and just take a deep breath in through your nose. And then once again, out of your mouth. And now just with the mouth closed, breathing in and out of your nose at a normal rate. For this first minute, I want you to take some time to focus on your thoughts. Let your thoughts come into your mind freely. As a thought arises, try to give it a word or a phrase or a feeling. Label that thought and then let it pass. Move through all the thoughts in your head. Don't get stuck on one. A thought arises, identify it, give it a word or a feeling, and then let it move on, creating room for the next thought. So think about your mind as a conveyor belt, and those thoughts are just kind of coming through and then leaving and dropping off as you move to the next one. You're not getting stuck on any one thought, not clinging to anything, and not pushing away from anything. Just letting each one move through on that conveyor belt at the same speed. And now I want you to shift your attention to your breath. Take your right hand and place it on your heart and your left hand on your belly. Keep your eyes closed. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your heart and belly expand into your hands. Exhale through the nose. Feel the heart and belly fall. So nice, deep, slow inhalation as you draw breath in. Chest and belly expand. Exhale, slowly, chest and belly fall. So just following the rise and fall of your breath. Let the inhalation and exhalation happen at a steady pace. You're inhaling and exhaling at the same rate. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back to your breath. It can be helpful to use a really simple mantra here. As you inhale, just say, I breathe in. As you exhale, just say, I breathe out. So silently to yourself, I breathe in. I breathe out. And now I want you to combine the two things. So remember that conveyor belt of thoughts. Combine that with your breath. So as a thought comes in on the inhalation, release that thought on the exhalation. Creating new space for a new thought on the next inhalation. So with each breath exhaled, feel the strength of letting things affect you only for one breath. Feel the strength of giving something a name and then letting it go and moving forward. And then open your eyes. Roll your shoulders back one more time. Wiggle your fingers, squeeze your hands in the fists and release. Excuse me, sorry. So that again, that was a really simple way of activating our parasympathetic nervous system. If you can practice that once a day, you're just taking a couple of minutes out of your day. It can do incredibly powerful things for bringing some balance to your life and releasing some of those effects of long-term stress. So let's talk a little bit about what's behind meditation and mindfulness. So alpha waves were the very first brain waves discovered by neuroscientists. And amazingly, it's been proven that when you're meditating or practicing mindfulness, you have an increase of alpha waves in your brain. Intentionality is a really important aspect of mindfulness or meditation. And based on your intention, practicing just even that short little bit of mindfulness has been proven to increase creativity, to decrease stress, to help you focus more, to increase concentration, and to help generate feelings of calmness. So it depends on each individual and your desires, your intention that you're bringing to the table. So intentionality can be really simple. It can be something as simple as just like, I'm coming here this morning with the intention of letting go, with the intention of releasing. And so that on every exhalation, I'm just thinking, let go, release. A really simple intention that I like to use, and then I'll use it as my mantra as well, is just breathing in, I relax my body. Breathing out, I smile. And I'll just silently repeat that to myself. And as I'm breathing in, I'm sending that intention of just relaxing my body, letting go of stress and tension in the physical body. And as I'm breathing out, I'm just feeling lighter and I'm smiling and I'm setting that intention of just welcoming joy into my day. So let's practice some mindfulness in getting those alpha waves in our brain going. So we're going to think about just a really simple technique for mindfulness. And anytime you're practicing mindfulness, just think about removing distractions, putting yourself in a space where there's minimal distractions, maybe putting your phone on silent, not checking any emails. So super duper simple exercise. Grab that writing utensil that you have next to you, pen or pencil, whatever it is, pick it up. And I want you to just look at it and take in the details that you see. And just take some time to notice visually the little details on that pen or pencil. And now I want you to put it in your hand and feel the weight of it in one hand. So just let it like rest on your palm and feel the weight of that writing utensil in your hand. And then maybe take your hands and kind of rub them on it. Notice the texture. Bring your focus to the texture that you're feeling. Maybe smell it. Does it have a smell? If it's a pencil, it probably has a smell. I'm not really getting much out of my pen. And then write with it. Just write some squiggly lines. And notice how the ink flows or the lead flows. Feel the texture. Feel the friction of the pen or pencil on paper. Feel the movement of your hand as you're just drawing some mindless squiggly lines on your paper. And then lift your pen back up and set it back down. That is mindfulness, very simple. It's limiting distractions, focusing on the object at hand, which in this case was our pen or pencil, and taking in all the details of it, using all of our senses to take in those details. So we can practice mindfulness in regular activities that we're doing in our life. Let's say you're doing the dishes, something that most of us have to do every day, right? Make doing the dishes a mindfulness exercise. So as you're washing the dishes, you're just really focusing on each dish. You're maybe thinking about what you use that dish for, where it came from, what you like to eat on that dish. And then you're noticing the soap and you're feeling the texture of the soap. And you're just really taking your time, noticing each little detail of washing that dish. And then when that dish is done, you're putting it down and moving to the next one. So this is a really great way to practice mindfulness in everyday activities. So again, you don't have to block out a ton of extra special time in your schedule. You can just build it into something that you're already doing. We talked about the power of spending time in nature. Going for a mindful walk can be incredibly powerful. Maybe slow your walk down a little bit for a couple of minutes and just notice like my heel is touching the ground, my toes are touching the ground. Notice the sound of your foot as it hits the ground. Start to pick out the sounds around you. Take those earbuds out, turn the music off and just focus on the sounds that you're taking in your environment, taking those deep breaths. How does that cold air feel coming into your lungs? Noticing that breeze on your skin and what that feels like, and just really focusing on every little detail of the experience. You will find that when you're hyper focused on those details, you don't have a lot of room for your mind to wander into all these stressful places, to perseverate over that relationship or that bad interaction that you just had with your sister-in-law, or to feel anger about something going on at work. You don't have a lot of other space to do all that because you're tuning that out and you're focusing 100% of your attention on the walk and what you're experiencing in that walk. So mindfulness, incredibly powerful way to activate that parasympathetic nervous system. So let's also talk about exercise and stretching. Even, really mild exercise can provide a ton of benefits to your body and also to your mind. So when you're exercising, you're releasing chemicals called endorphins. Those endorphins are interacting with receptors in our brain. They can lessen pain. They change our perception of pain. They trigger positive feelings. In fact, endorphins in some studies have been proven to be stronger than morphine in addressing pain and in increasing positive feelings. So let's think about ways that we can incorporate some movement and very simple exercise into our day. And what if we could incorporate movement, exercise, and our mindfulness or meditation together? Then, you get a triple whammy, all the benefits through one activity. And so I'm just going to invite you to do a couple of simple just chair yoga exercises with me now. And we don't have a ton of time left this morning, so we'll just do a couple of things just to give you an idea of how simple it can be. And I'm going to see if I can adjust my camera a little bit and scoot back so you can see what I'm doing better. If I scoot way back here, you can see my legs. Okay, so let's come back so we're sitting on the edge of our chair. Roll your shoulders back 3 times. Rest your palms on your knees. Take your feet so they're hips distance apart. Feel yourself sitting straight and tall. Crown of the head directly over the sacrum so your spine is aligned. Visualize a string connected to the top of your head, just like lifting you up towards the sky as you straighten out that spine. Wake up those abdominal muscles, feel them engaged here, helping you to sit up nice and straight. Take a deep breath in and lift the arms up as you breathe in and look up. Breathing out through the nose, bring the hands together at heart center. Inhale, reach out to the sides, wiggle your fingers, open those arms wide, open this chest, look up. Exhale, press the hands together at heart center. Again, inhale, reach up, look up, open the heart to the sky. Exhale, bring the hands together at heart center. Inhale, reach out to the sides, open the heart, wiggle the fingers. Exhale, press the palms back together. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift, little back bend. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, reach out to the sides, wiggle those fingers, open that heart. Exhale, heart center. Now we're going to do a little twist. So depending on the kind of chair you have, if you have like an arm on your chair, I want you to take your right hand and grab the opposite side of your chair. If you don't have an arm on your chair, you can grab like the bottom of your chair or even just put it on your leg. And then you're going to take your left hand and put it on the back of the chair. And inhale, sit up nice and straight and tall. And then exhale, turn to look back over that left shoulder. So you're looking back behind your chair. And I want you to just hold here for a couple of breaths, feeling a nice twist in the spine. Still sitting up straight and tall, still an open heart. Shoulders are rolled back as we're getting this nice twist. A wonderful detoxifying twist. Exhale, unwind. Come back to center. And then reverse. So we'll take our left hand to the opposite side. We'll take that right hand and bring it to the back of the chair. Inhale, lift up, and then exhale, look back over the back of that chair, over your right shoulder, twisting here. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. Your mouth is closed, jaw relaxed. Nice, slow, steady inhalation and exhalation through the nose. And exhale, unwind. Now we're going to do a simple hip stretch. So I want you to take your right foot and cross it over your left knee so that your ankle is like just above your knee. So you're not crossing your legs like this, right? You have it open and the ankle's just above the knee. And then take that hand and just kind of push that knee away from you. And sit up nice and straight. And then start to lead with your heart to fold towards that shin. So you should feel a nice little stretch in that hip. And I want you to just hold here. And as you're holding here, use your breath to help you just kind of relax into this pose. So as you inhale, send your breath to where you're feeling tightness, most likely your hip. And as you exhale, visualize that you're creating more space there so that you can kind of just shift into that space, relaxing a little deeper into the pose. So inhale, you send the breath to where you're feeling that tightness. You're creating space. And then exhale, you're just shifting slowly into that space. A few more breaths right here. Nice, slow, steady inhalation and exhalation through the nose. And when you're ready, come up. Uncross that leg. So both feet are flat on the ground again. Maybe stomp your feet out a little bit, waking up the bottoms of your feet, feeling yourself connected to the earth. And then we'll do the other leg. So crossing the ankle over the knee. As you can see, this hip is way tighter for me. That knee is flying way up there. So take your hand and see if you can press that knee down a little bit away from the body. And then when you're ready, leading with your heart, fold forward towards that shin. Breathing in, send your breath to wherever you're feeling the tightness. Visualize that breath creating space in the hip. Breathing out, relaxing into that newfound space. Nice, slow, steady breath in and out through the nose. Mouth is closed, jaw relaxed. Face is soft. Just using your breath to help you sink a little deeper into this stretch as you open up that hip. So all those fight or flight hormones that our body produces tend to get stored in our hips. So when we're under a lot of stress, we'll start to feel that tightness in the hips. So taking time to stretch those hips is so powerful. So let's come out of that now. Uncross the legs, come back so both feet are flat. Just roll your shoulders back a few times. Let the palms face up on your lap. And just 2 times, we're going to take a breath in through our nose and we're going to exhale out of our mouth, letting out a sigh. Ah. Ah. And then if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes now. I would love to do some more yogic poses with you guys, but we are running out of time, and I see 2 messages on here. Oh, just a Snoopy and Woodstock shout out, and that a nice note from Lenore. So thank you guys. I am going to pause here now and see if anybody has any questions or anything you want to share, any comments, anything you want to share about the poses or the meditation or anything else.
So again, I'll speak. I can't believe some of these people talk all the time. But anyway, I'm determined to really utilize some of these things that you've taught. They're simple, and I'm going to do it. I just really thank you, Paige.
Good. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you guys all for inviting me to join you today. And if you ever have any groups that you think doing some mindfulness or some yoga practice would be helpful, I'm always happy to be a part of any of that. So just feel free to reach out and let me know.
Thank you. I don't even want to do my next little job here. I just want to sit and relax. But anyway, I will. So the next mental health, the upcoming activities, Lori has taken off for a doctor's appointment, but the next Mental Health Monday is January 27th. And the topic is peer experience and leadership. And the presenter is Dawn McReynolds, who most of you guys know. And I think this is a very important presentation that she's been given. Next NAPFC meeting is on Wednesday, January 15th at 1 p.m. Visit NamiYavapai.org for future NAMI Yavapai and event and Zoom links. And at this point, I would like to ask if anyone has any things that they would like to share as to what is going on. I know we have Joshua, we have Heidi, you guys both have a lot of things going. Crystal? I miss Crystal. Crystal, do you have anything to share?
Not a lot, but we are, so we started so with Arizona Mad Moms anyways, we started a peer support meeting. So for some of these kids, or young adults, it's been the first time in years that they've been out and had the support of each other. So that started up gonna be full force in the new year, and we're starting our Arizona Mad Mom support meeting that also starts in January. So we hit our 400th member.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so but it's been a rough holiday for a lot of our families. So yeah, we've just been busy.
I've
So-
thought a lot about you and your family.
Yeah, thank you.
So is there anyone else that would like to share? Ralph? Okay, it looks like we may, Brissa, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
Hello, everyone. Not much, Kathy. We just have our January calendar up on our website. So if people are interested in taking some courses in January, we have them already scheduled for January, and we'll be adding February probably come the new year. So thank you very much.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to share a little bit? I'm fine if you don't, because we're gonna end up a few minutes early and I'm gonna just sit here.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone. Would someone like to move that we end the meeting?
Sure, Kathy. It's Kelly. I motion
Kelly,
to
and second it.
adjourn.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Paige, so much.
Bye. Thank you, Paige.
You've
Bye.
changed so many lives.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. Have a beautiful day.